Welcome to the Mystery and History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Stefan, a Hungarian engineer, developed an experimental machine in 1935 that promised to make people and objects invisible, an innovative idea at the time. Despite the fascination with invisibility, his project did not move into practical use, but it represented the search for revolutionary technologies before World War II. Franz Reichelt in 1912 carried out one of the first tests of a parachute suit by jumping from the Eiffel Tower, trying to create personal air safety equipment. The experiment did not have the expected result, showing the challenges of pioneering aviation inventions and influencing future parachuting research. A woman in Paris draws attention by visiting a cafe in 1932 with her cheetah, reflecting the fascination of the European elite at the time with exotic animals as status symbols. This city scene reveals social contrasts and interest in the exotic, shaped by an atmosphere of sophistication and distinction. In Berlin in 1925, Dr. Heinz used an experimental rejuvenation method involving substances taken from hares, along with exposure to ultraviolet light and physical exercise. This practice reflected the search for innovative anti-aging methods and interest in unconventional biological therapies. In Chicago in 1939, the family bicycle combined transportation and housework in a unique and innovative structure. By allowing the mother to sew using an attached machine while the family moved through the city, it reflected the search for efficiency and adaptation amid the economic struggles of the time. In the early 1970s, in Brussels, a spiral electric garment appeared that promised to improve body support through vibrating movements during work, reflecting the search for innovation and women's comfort. The invention showed interest in ergonomic and appearance-focused technologies designed for women. Dr. Eric Salomon revolutionized documentary photography by hiding a camera inside a fake arm cast to secretly photograph the Supreme Court of the United States in 1932, a feat that broke access barriers inside official institutions and opened a new era of investigative visual journalism and judicial transparency. Michael Tolotos was a Greek Orthodox monk who spent 82 years isolated at the Mount Athos Monastery between 1856 and 1938, never seeing a woman according to strict local rules. This practice reflects Mount Athos's extreme tradition of isolation and asceticism, preserving devotion and separation from the secular world. Eunice Padfield won over the crowd in Pueblo, Colorado on July 4, 1905, by jumping with her horse from a platform into a pool, impressing crowds during United States Independence Day celebrations. The act showed her boldness and strengthened the popularity of adventure shows. Around 1905, August Engelhardt founded a community on Cabocan Island in New Guinea, dedicated to living close to nature and considered pioneering among German alternative movements. The experiment sought spiritual connection through a plant-based diet and sun exposure, challenging the customs of modern Europe. During the Great Smog of 1952 in London, pollution caused by burning coal formed a harmful layer that affected thousands of residents. People and animals had to wear masks for protection. The episode led to the Clean Air Act of 1956, transforming environmental policy in the United Kingdom. Seth Kinman, a 19th-century California explorer, gave President Andrew Johnson a chair decorated with parts of a grizzly bear in 1865, a symbol of the American frontier and the customs of that period. The gesture reflected the relationship between pioneering and power during the Reconstruction after the Civil War. The underwater photograph from 1899 is a milestone in maritime exploration and photographic technology, possibly the first of its kind in the world. It shows advances in diving suits and growing interest in investigating underwater environments, influencing research and visual documentation techniques. In Budapest in 1939, an unemployed man placed an advertisement for Box Sport magazine on his bald head, using an unusual method to earn money during the economic crisis before World War II. This practice reveals survival strategies in times of financial hardship and social instability. Jonathan, a giant tortoise at Plantation House on the island of St. Helena, appears in this photograph from the late 19th century. Known for his long life, he became a symbol of British colonial history. The image, taken between 1882 and 1886, shows his lasting presence to this day, highlighting his role in the island's memory. Gertrude Dewar, known as Mademoiselle Omega, stood out in 1908 by performing tightrope acrobatics at the Brockton Fair in Massachusetts, when outdoor circus acts drew large audiences. Her performances challenged traditional women's roles and raised the visibility of female artists in shows. The Art Students League Ball in New York in 1955 highlighted the surrealist creativity of students who used body paint, costumes with eyes, and expressive faces, challenging traditional norms. The event symbolized the experimental spirit of artistic youth and influenced performance art and conceptual fashion. In 1933, residents of Boren, Belgium, gathered under a viaduct near a Christian school, waiting for the appearance of the Virgin Mary, reported by children the day before. This religious manifestation stirred intense faith and social mobilization, reinforcing the importance of popular beliefs in local life. Maharaja Birchandra Manikya, King of Tripura, took part in India's first selfie in 1880, capturing his image with a woman beside him in a pioneering photograph. This act symbolizes the beginning of self-photography in the country, reflecting the early adoption of photographic technology by royal figures in the 19th century. Joe Arity became known for his calmness in 1939, shortly before the carrying out of a sentence later considered unjust. He handed over his toy train, a gesture that revealed his humanity in his final moments and highlighted major flaws in the justice system of that time. During a demonstration in 1996, a black woman protected a man associated with ideas of racial intolerance from a group of angry protesters. The episode revealed the complexity of ethnic tensions and efforts to prevent clashes, expanding debates about prejudice and social justice in the United States. In 1900, the world's largest photographic camera was built to capture the complete image of an entire train, a pioneering feat that showed the technological advances of photography at the time. This innovation opened the way for larger and more detailed records, expanding the limits of what could be visually documented. On Daytona Beach in the early 1980s, a religious protest against swimsuits considered bold revealed a clash of cultural values in the United States. The message of condemnation shown by protesters expressed conservatism in response to the loosening of social customs in coastal areas. In 1946, women wearing new swimsuit styles on beaches such as Rockaway Beach in New York faced fines for breaking public clothing rules. This control reflected the conflict between conservative customs and growing female freedom in post-war fashion and social behavior. Until 1956, some schools in France offered children a traditional drink diluted with water during lunch, a practice that reflected the country's cultural habits at the time. This tradition, later abandoned, shows changing views about drinks meant for adults and the care needed during childhood. In the 1930s, an old photograph shows social rules by warning against using the car's rearview mirror to touch up makeup, because the driver needs it to drive safely. This scene reflects the strict division of gender roles and the emerging car culture of the time. The Miss Correct Posture contest of 1956 reflected post-war concern with posture health and body appearance. The winners displayed X-rays proving spinal alignment, showing progress in preventive care. The event emphasized discipline and well-being, influencing health practices. The immobilization technique using a toy horse during X-ray exams for children in the United States in 1957 was meant to prevent movements that could blur the medical image. This method showed the importance of improving pediatric equipment and practices, prioritizing comfort and clinical precision. Dr. Gustav Zander changed physical exercise by creating one of the first gym machines in 1892 in Stockholm. His invention, based on pulleys and gears, marked the beginning of mechanized workouts, influencing physical therapy and modern fitness, especially in the industrial era. The Peel P50, released in Great Britain in 1962, changed urban mobility by being designed as the world's smallest car for one person and a shopping bag, reaching up to about 40 miles per hour. This innovation reflected the search for compact and affordable solutions as cities grew and traffic increased. In 1939, after the start of World War II, women in London used small and efficient vehicles, such as a compact car about 59 inches long that reached about 40 miles per hour. This transportation reflected civilian adaptations to fuel shortages and restrictions, showing the impact of the conflict on British urban life. In 1954, an innovation appeared for travelers seeking comfort on long trips: an aluminum bunk placed over car seats, creating a space for rest. This adaptation reflected growing interest in road leisure, anticipating car tourism, and influencing the market for vehicle accessories. The Aerocar, developed in 1966, was one of the first vehicles to combine a car and an airplane with folding wings that allowed it to travel on regular roads and fly up to 110 miles per hour. This innovation reflected the dream of personal air travel and opened important debates about the future of individual transportation. In the 1950s, some drive-in restaurants in the United States offered cooled air directly into cars through tubes connected to the roof, as seen in 1957. This practice symbolized the peak of car culture and the search for convenience, influencing service and the customer experience after the war. The Track restaurant in Los Angeles innovated in 1949 by creating an automated drive-in delivery system with metal tracks connected to cars, pioneering efficiency in quick and practical service. This technology anticipated the modernization of fast food restaurants and influenced the urban lifestyle of the United States. At the Greyhound terminal in Los Angeles around 1969, an innovation appeared that allowed people to rent small televisions built into chairs, called tele-chairs, for 25 cents per half hour. This technology offered affordable entertainment, made waiting more pleasant, and marked progress in making television available in public spaces. The automatic chocolate machine in the New York subway in 1953 shows the decade's technology innovation and consumer culture, offering chocolates for 1 cent. This equipment made it easier to get sweets quickly, reflecting the expansion of automated services in daily life after World War II. Arthur Clarence Pillsbury stood out in 1916 by placing a Studebaker 6 near the edge of Glacier Point in Yosemite National Park, using a wooden support made by local carpenters. The image symbolizes fascination with natural landscapes and helped promote tourism in United States national parks. The first complete photograph of Earth, taken on May 30th, 1966 by the Soviet Molniya-1 satellite, marked progress in space exploration during the Cold War. This image showed the Soviet Union's ability to monitor the planet and pushed the space race forward, highlighting the communications satellite. Alexei Leonov performed the first spacewalk on March 18, 1965, staying outside the spacecraft for 12 minutes and 9 seconds, a historic milestone in the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States. This achievement expanded the limits of human space exploration and influenced future missions. Charles Duke, astronaut of the Apollo 16 mission in 1972, left a photograph of his family as a human symbol on the lunar surface. This action expresses the personal connection in space exploration and marks the expansion of human presence beyond Earth, reflecting the historic impact of the space race on culture and science. The test of the prototype spacesuit in 1962 in the Mojave Desert was fundamental for the Apollo program of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which aimed to send astronauts to the moon. These experiments simulated lunar conditions, helping improve the equipment and ensure safety in the first missions, a crucial milestone in exploration. On Sean Lennon's 9th birthday in 1984, Steve Jobs introduced the original Macintosh computer to pop art icons such as Andy Warhol, Kenny Scharf, and Keith Haring in a meeting that symbolized the crossing of technology and culture, anticipating a digital revolution that would influence communication and art. The 1968 presentation marked a historic breakthrough by revealing the mouse, the graphic interface, virtual windows, hypertext, and word processing, technologies that changed how people interacted with computers. This milestone sped up the personal and professional use of computing, transforming system design and function. The episode at the Monson Motor Lodge Pool in St. Augustine, Florida, on June 18, 1964, marked the fight against racial barriers in the United States. The intervention by authorities, removing protesters who sought peaceful integration, showed local resistance and strengthened the civil rights cause. In the United States in 1972, Victoria Principal appears in a portrait made early in her film career. That year, she made her debut in The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, alongside Paul Newman. 6 years later, she became known worldwide as Pamela Barnes Ewing in the television series Dallas. Storing 5 megabytes of data in 1966 required about 62,500 punch cards, which took 4 days to load, showing the challenges of early computing. This physical method symbolized the huge future technological evolution in information storage capacity and processing speed. In the 1980s, the technology transition was slow, shown by the attempt to transfer files from the Commodore 64 to the original Apple Macintosh. This moment shows the limits and experiments of users facing early personal computers, reflecting the beginning of popular computing. Sony's introduction of the portable television in 1963 marked an advance in personal technology, allowing people to watch programs on the move, as shown by a woman using one of the first models inside a car. This innovation influenced the consumption of entertainment and information. In 1936, the public display of television at Waterloo Station in London marked a technological and cultural advance, bringing people closer to the new visual medium. Months later, the British Broadcasting Corporation began regular broadcasts, changing how information and entertainment were consumed in the United Kingdom and around the world. A peasant family from Voronov experiences radio for the first time in 1928, a milestone in the spread of sound technology through rural areas of the Soviet Union. The introduction of radio expanded access to information and popular culture, promoting social and political integration for people who had been isolated. The Stockholm telephone tower, opened in 1890, connected about 5,500 lines, symbolizing the advance of telecommunications in Europe in the late 19th century. This structure made it possible for telephones to expand in urban areas, speeding up communication and transforming social and business relationships in Sweden. The first aerial refueling operation was carried out by Lowell H. Smith and John P. Richter on June 27, 1923, over San Diego, California, marking a crucial advance in military aviation. This innovation made it possible to extend the range of air missions, transforming combat and reconnaissance strategies. In the 1970s, General Motors and Electric Battery Systems presented pioneering urban electric vehicles, such as the green General Motors electric car and the Electric Battery Systems Sundancer model during a period of growing interest in sustainable mobility. These initiatives anticipated debates about clean energy and urban transportation. The Woolworth supermarket in Sydney in 1960 reflected a pre-plastic era, with products in glass, cans, and paper showing more sustainable consumer habits. The advertised delivery service represented an important retail innovation, anticipating the convenience that would become popular years later. Meal preparation aboard the Pan Am international flight between San Francisco and New Zealand in 1948 illustrates the luxury and sophistication of air travel at the time, when airplanes offered dining services such as filet mignon and elaborate salads, setting a high standard for commercial air transportation. Bobby Gibb entered history as the first woman to run the Boston Marathon in 1966, even though the competition did not officially allow women to participate. Her presence challenged the norms of the time and opened the way for women's acceptance in sports, influencing changes in athletic policies. Bessie Coleman faced strong social barriers that kept her from entering aviation schools in the United States, so she moved to France, where she learned the language and earned her pilot license in 1922. She was the first black woman pilot, opening paths during a period of few opportunities. On the roof of the Ball Building at Desilu Studios in Hollywood in 1938, women practiced boxing in a setting that symbolized women's emergence in spaces once dominated by men. This scene shows the importance of women's sports as a form of expression and entertainment, reflecting social changes in the early 20th century. In 1965, a principal at Rickards High School in Tallahassee strictly controlled the length of students' skirts, reflecting conservative rules in American schools at the time, which sought to maintain order and decency. This control showed social concerns about discipline and shaped behavior. In 1968, at Shinjuku Station in Tokyo, subway workers pushed passengers into trains during rush hour, a practice that reflected urban growth and high demand for efficient transportation. This method showed the effort to manage overcrowding and modernize the Japanese rail system. Sweden's switch to driving on the right side of the road on September 3, 1967, called Dagen H, marked a historic change for road safety. The logistical challenge required driver re-education and street adaptation, reducing accidents and improving integration with neighboring countries. The arrival of the first shipment of bananas in Norway in 1905 marked a key moment in the country's commercial history by beginning the import of this tropical fruit, then unknown to many local consumers. This introduction opened the way for new trade relationships and changed local eating habits. Tippi Hedren interacted with a crow involved in a curious scene on the set of The Birds, the 1963 classic directed by Alfred Hitchcock. The film became a landmark by portraying threatening birds taking over a small town, reflecting Cold War social fears and the period's pioneering movie effects. Joan Rhodes stood out in the 1950s as a strong woman who challenged traditional gender standards by showing physical strength in public, such as tearing phone books in 1953. Her performances expanded female visibility in areas tied to endurance and physical power during a period of restrictive social roles. John Anglin took part in the famous unauthorized escape from Alcatraz in June 1962, using a handmade head to make it seem as if he were in his cell. The episode became legendary for overcoming the prison security, and the whereabouts of Anglin and his companions remain unknown to this day. The United States Selective Service Lottery in 1969 marked the official organization of recruitment for the Vietnam War, setting the order in which young men would be called by birth date. This method aimed to make the process fairer amid opposition to the war, but it intensified debates about conscription and social justice. Hyperinflation in Germany in 1923 caused the severe devaluation of the mark, requiring huge stacks of bills for a little more than $1, as shown by children beside old banknotes. This episode marked the economic instability of the Weimar Republic, creating serious social crises and political tensions. In Germany in 1923, a woman poses in a dress made from German mark banknotes during the hyperinflation of the Weimar Republic. The currency lost value quickly, and large amounts of money bought only a few goods. Worthless bills were used in clothing, toys, and household objects. The crisis of 1929 marked the collapse of the New York Stock Exchange, triggering the worldwide Great Depression. The episode shows the huge impact of the financial crash, reflected in the scene of a janitor cleaning papers from the floor, symbolizing the end of runaway speculation and the beginning of serious economic and social consequences. Walter Thornton, an investor ruined by the severe financial crisis, tries to sell his Chrysler Imperial Roadster for $100 on October 29, 1929, a few days after the New York Stock Exchange crash that triggered the Great Depression. The photo shows financial desperation and the economic collapse that affected millions in the United States. During the Great Depression in 1939, many unemployed workers sought to secure their social rights amid the economic crisis that devastated the United States. The Social Security tattoo on the arm symbolizes the fight for social protection and the importance of the emerging retirement and benefits system. Hoovervilles, poor communities like the one in Central Park in 1933, symbolize the impact of the Great Depression in the United States when thousands lost homes and jobs. These shantytowns showed the lack of effective policies for the social crisis in urban areas like New York, revealing the inequality of the time. Christmas dinner at Earl Pauley's home in Smithfield, Iowa, in 1936 shows the difficulties families faced during the Great Depression in the United States. The modest meal of potatoes, cabbage, and pie illustrates scarcity and adaptation during the crisis that affected millions, showing resilience amid poverty. The boy photographed in Edinburgh, Texas in 1939 symbolizes the difficult childhood of migrant workers during the Great Depression in the United States, a period of poverty and economic instability. The image shows the daily struggle for survival and the social challenges faced by this vulnerable group. The wife of a coal miner and 3 children live in a company house in Purrs Glove, Scotts Run, West Virginia, in September 1938 during the Great Depression. This family faces poor housing and economic hardship that shaped the fight for rights in mining communities. Coal mining in West Virginia around 1940 was vital to the American economy during industrialization and World War II. Conditions in the mines were poor, with workers exposed to danger and long shifts, strengthening unions and debates about labor rights. British miners gather in a pub in 1912 to discuss an upcoming strike that would mark the fight for better conditions in the coal industry, a setting of intense labor conflict. This movement was crucial for strengthening union rights and exposing the exploitation of workers at the time. The Klondike Gold Rush in 1898 brought thousands of prospectors who faced the harsh Chilkoot Pass on the Alaska-Yukon route in search of wealth. This migration symbolizes the hope and challenge of mining, marking one of the most dramatic episodes of North American expansion in the 19th century. Photographs from 1910 documented the presence of miners in factories where young workers faced long hours in unsafe settings. These images affected public opinion and pushed laws that limited early employment, marking the fight to protect children during industrialization. The Boston Trade School for Girls around 1910 offered technical education to young women, preparing them for the job market during a time of social and economic change in the United States. Selling Christmas gifts was part of practical training, encouraging artistic and business skills and promoting female independence. The wife of a tenant farmer in Pitt County, North Carolina, appears in 1949 with her 6 children on the porch of a modest wooden house, portraying the hard conditions of rural life after World War II, marked by poverty and hard work common among small farming families in the southern United States. Isidore Haumont and his family arrived in Nebraska from Belgium in the spring of 1883, settling in a 2-story sod house in French Table, north of Broken Bow. This home symbolizes the effort of pioneers in settling the American interior, facing challenges to create a new home and community. The steam train crossing Kensal Rise in London in March 1921 reflects urban growth and the expansion of railways after the Industrial Revolution. This made it easier for the working population to travel, encouraged rows of housing, and influenced the city's social and economic structure in the 1920s. In the early 20th century in West Bengal, a photograph shows a Bengali woman carrying a formally dressed British man on her back. The image symbolizes inequality and British colonial control in India, reflecting the power and subservience dynamics of the period before independence in 1947. The marriage of Roger Mills and Bertha Linson in Jackson, Mississippi in 1970 marked the end of state racial barriers by celebrating the first official interracial union in the state after the 1967 Supreme Court of the United States decision that legalized such marriages. This event symbolized progress in civil rights. The cowgirls of Wyoming played a vital role in ranching, rodeos, and Old West shows in the 19th century, standing out as symbols of women's freedom and courage in rural life. In 1869, Wyoming granted women the right to vote, a milestone that influenced civil achievements. The protest against the Miss America pageant in 1968 marked an important moment in the feminist struggle in the United States, questioning strict beauty standards and the symbolic oppression of women. The protesters denounced makeup as a mask for social pain and demanded recognition beyond physical appearance. The March 1979 referendum marked Iran's transition from monarchy to Islamic Republic amid intense social and political changes after the Islamic Revolution. Popular participation, including women's votes, was crucial to legitimizing the new regime, which transformed Iran's political and cultural landscape. In Iran, in 1973, 5 years before the Islamic Revolution, everyday scenes such as cutting a birthday cake showed a society still influenced by Western customs and female freedom in private settings. Soon afterward, the new regime imposed strict cultural restrictions and changed women's roles. 2 Armenian women prepared to resist Ottoman forces during the tensions of 1895, when the local population faced persecution during the decline of the Ottoman Empire. This female mobilization shows the search for community protection and the growing participation of women in decisive events of the time. The severe food shortage known as the Holodomor struck Ukraine in 1933, affecting millions of peasants, including weakened residents in Kharkiv. The tragedy, linked to forced Soviet collectivization, deeply marked the rural population and became a symbol of one of the region's greatest humanitarian crises. Sister Mary Kenneth Keller was a pioneer when, in 1965, she became the first woman in the United States to earn a doctorate in computer science, at a time when technology was still emerging and mostly dominated by men. Her important achievement opened the way for greater female inclusion in the field. The Dutch food crisis of 1944, called Hongerwinter, happened during World War II, when people in the Netherlands faced major shortages because of blockades and supply disruptions. The situation affected thousands of people and showed the impact of the conflict on civilian daily life. In 1965, Harlem represented major socio-economic inequalities in the United States, with neglected areas and difficult conditions for the local black population. Poor housing and deep poverty fueled movements for civil rights and social justice essential to progress in public policy. In February 1940, during World War II, a boy in Deal on the Kent coast was photographed eating ice cream while sitting on naval equipment stranded on the beach. The scene shows how elements of the conflict were present in everyday moments experienced by people along the British coast. In the United States after World War II, the drive-through model became a symbol of urban modernity, making it easier to access goods quickly in cities like Los Angeles. In 1949, this kind of business showed car culture and the faster pace of life, anticipating changes in consumption and social interaction. At the Blackheath Road Institute in London in 1914, women took typing classes, marking the beginning of female entry into office jobs in the United Kingdom. This training expanded work opportunities during the changes caused by World War I. Helen, an indigenous telephone operator at the Many Glacier Hotel on June 26, 1925, symbolizes the contribution of Native peoples in American tourism settings. Her manual work marks cultural and labor integration when contact between indigenous communities and tourism affected the local economy and indigenous visibility in society. Margaret Hamilton led the Massachusetts Institute of Technology team that developed the navigation software for Project Apollo in 1969, essential to the success of the mission that took humans to the moon. Her pioneering work in software engineering changed the creation of complex programs, ensuring safety and precision in space operations. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.